Welcome, 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 everyone. Welcome to this Sharing Hope and Inspiration podcast. I will be your host, Jim Jackson. The Sharing Hope and Inspiration podcast is where we shine a light on real life stories, powerful journeys, and people that are working tirelessly to make a difference. Today's episode is an important one. We'll be speaking to the founder of the Shi Foundation, Denise Jackson. The Shi Foundation is an organization dedicated to supporting the survivors of domestic violence and advocating for a future free of abuse. We'll hear about the inspiration behind the Shi Foundation, their mission, the challenges survivors face, and how you can be a part of the solution. Please note today's discussions do involve domestic violence, so listeners' discretion is advised. Now, would you please help me welcome the founder of the Shi Foundation, Denise Jackson.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Jim.
Hey,
Thank
what's
you so
going
very much
on?
for working with me and just having patience. I really appreciate it. So I'm looking forward to a new beginning. We had to revamp, reload, and do what needs to be done, and we up and running.
Yeah, and we thought it would be just imperative to reach back out to the community and let you guys know what we have going on with the Shi Foundation. A lot of people take part in some of our events, but they don't truly know the background or history with the Shi Foundation. So, in efforts to kind of revamp and reestablish our mission, I thought it would be a great idea for us to cultivate this podcast where we could continue the conversations and also be able to be interactive with the people that support us in our efforts. So, we shall get started. If you guys don't mind, tune in, tell a friend, tell a friend. Um, this is a very informal setting. We just decided to jump on and do it. So, charge it to our hearts. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
charge it to our hearts, not our mind. Just bear
Yeah,
with us.
we really try. We really
We're
try.
just trying something different.
Something new. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong
Ain't nothing wrong with something new now.
with it. Okay. I do have a couple questions for you, and I was trying to pull them up, but always gonna have a couple little technical difficulties. But I got them. All right. So we're gonna start off with our introduction and background. Like I said before, our guest here is Denise Jackson, the founder of the Shi Foundation. And our first question is, can you tell me a bit about yourself and what led to the start of this nonprofit? I know the answer, but for our
Oh,
audience.
you know the answer. Okay. Um, as most of you know, I am Denise Jackson, a mother, a grandmother, a wife, a friend, a hard worker, all that good stuff. What geared me towards the Shy Foundation is that in 2013 we lost our Shy to domestic violence. So opposed to allowing the pain of losing her define who I was, I decided to turn that pain into a purpose because I felt like my way of receiving help was by way of helping others. So for every individual that I help, it helps me. So turning my pain into a purpose was my reason for starting the Shy Foundation.
Question two, sort of similar. Was there a specific moment or a story that inspired the foundation?
Pretty much what I said in question one, it was due to Shakira. Domestic violence is a silent killer, and like with most things, if it does not affect us personally, most of us won't take the initiative to try to support it or just reach out and be of service by any means necessary. But when it hit you in such a traumatic way, you're led to do something. So, like again, like I said, losing Shy, I had a choice. I was going to either wallow in my pain and allow it to take control. And what I must say that at the beginning, I did. At the beginning, I did. but I knew that I had more to live for, and I needed to be her voice and the voice of others. So losing her and just being determined to bring domestic violence to light, because it is real. It is my reality. It's the reality of so many other people. So I just felt that it was my need. I was appointed and anointed to do the work. So here I am.
Okay. What is the mission statement for the foundation, and how has the Shy Foundation evolved since we first started?
Oh my God. The mission of the Shi Foundation is to strengthen lives in the community by networking with other organizations who provide shelter, counseling, as we provide continuous advocacy and other necessities for those affected by domestic violence. We have evolved so very much because at the beginning, we were just taking it step by step. We were just doing things according to, like, okay, we heard this is going on over here, this is going on over there. So we took the initiative to be a part of those different movements. But now I feel like we are a movement ourselves.
Definitely.
So we get the ball running now.
Because especially I think around COVID is when we kind of spanned out and
Yes.
start servicing more than just victims of domestic violence. We start doing whole community
Yes,
advocacy.
definitely around COVID. Definitely.
All right, so we're gonna switch. Gonna switch up just a little bit. Because a lot of people have a misconception of what domestic violence actually is. They think it's just like one particular thing. And even over our talks, and when we have our conferences, and I hear different people speak, I found out myself that domestic violence comes in many different forms. So, your next question is, from your experience, what are some common misconceptions about domestic violence?
Some people feel that domestic violence is unusual. Like it just doesn't take place, like it is not real. And in actuality, it is. Um the some one other misconception is that people feel that it's impossible to love someone who abuse you. But that's not so. That's not so. And domestic violence, and it's not always physical, because some people feel like it's just straight physical, but it's mental abuse, verbal abuse, financial abuse. So abuse is across the spectrum. And people want another misconception is people don't understand that domestic violence does not discriminate.
Does
It's
not.
across the board. It does not discriminate. It doesn't matter your age, your color, your gender. It does not. Your financial stability. It's across the board. It doesn't discriminate by any means. Like, domestic violence is just what it is. Because a lot of us feel like men's are never abused, but women can be abusers just as men can be abuser. So it's across the board.
Yeah,
You know.
you kind of went into the next question of how cultural, social, and economic factors play a role in domestic violence cases. Yeah, a lot of misconceptions. People think it's just men beating on women,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't realize that it's women beating on women, men beating on
Yes.
women, women beating on men. Also, it could be mental abuse, financial abuse. That's the new
Mm-hmm.
one I learned. There's so many different levels to domestic violence, and I think that we need to shine a light more on it, because sometimes we get in these relationships and they hold us in bondage behind different things, and we can't understand like why. It's like because you're in a
Exactly.
you're in a domestic
Exactly.
relationship and you don't even realize
And
it
don't realize that you're in one.
until it's
Exactly. So
yeah.
once again, it's not just physical. Like it is not.
Okay, so let's go on to our next question. What unique challenges do survivors face when trying to leave abusive situations?
It goes back to what we were just speaking of. One of the unique challenges is financial dependency.
Most definitely.
Financial dependency, because if that and if the survivors often lack financial independence, so therefore their abuser would make it difficult for them to leave the relationship, because if they chose to leave, they're leaving without support.
Right.
you know um Isolation is a challenge, because the abuser have the tendency to isolate that person from their family and friends. So they become somewhat numb to what's going on within their household, because they're not able to speak on it to anyone.
Right.
Um, Trauma bonding is a challenge.
Very much so.
You nodded on that one. Trauma bonding is a challenge, because the the abuser have you in such a place where that what you're only thinking that is he or she who only love you, and you develop that strong bond with your abuser, not knowing that this is trauma bonding, and trauma bonding ain't good bonding. And another challenge would be fear of retaliation.
Mm, most definitely.
Yeah, fear of retaliation, because many survivors fear their abusers will either harm them more, of their loved ones, their friends. So some of them just be so fearful that I can't leave, because should I leave, then he may get this person or that person, or even make it worse for me.
Right.
And oftentimes, when an abuser realizes that they're losing control of the situation, they tend to make it worse.
And a lot of people stay in abusive relationships because they feel like they're protecting their family members, they're
Mm-hmm.
protecting their children, and so they end up
Exactly.
having this long, lifelong, abusive relationship with the person they're in, because they use a lot of manipulation. Off
A
the bat.
lot of
They
manipulation.
make them
Yes.
dependent upon them. They cut off their circle of support, and so they feel like they cannot survive outside of this relationship, and they make them feel like nobody else will love them,
Nobody else. Exactly.
nobody will support them, they won't make it. So they really do tear down their self-esteem, and
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, that could be a real big challenge. And sometimes when you're in the midst of a domestic relationship and you do get out, and then all of a sudden you find that the person who was in a domestic situation goes back to their abuser, and then we always like, well, why they go back to him, why they go back to him, because that was their normal, that's
That was
the
their normal.
yeah,
That was
that's what
their
they were
comfort.
used to. And
Exactly.
yeah, so
Exactly.
like after so many years of manipulation being broke down, it's kind of hard to establish and build up your self esteem and know that you can make it outside of that situation. So that's why intense support is needed, intense therapy is needed to actually
Exactly.
and then sometimes survivors, they'll get out of one domestic relationship
And get
and they'll
into
go
another
into
one.
another one because that's what they
Because again, it
know.
becomes their normal.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
becomes
they
their
think
normal.
that's
Like they
love.
don't know anything else but that.
Right. And so I mean, we just have to learn how to treat each other better, know how to advocate for one another. Some of us, we know people in domestic situations and we try to overlook it sometimes. And then when a bigger situation comes out of, somebody gets hurt or a life is taken, and then we all want to cry, but we all had a chance to
A
help
chance
step
has the
in
opportunity to
to
ultimately
help.
help that person.
Right.
Exactly.
And sometimes,
Exactly.
we can't force them out of those situations, but we could start speaking life into them. and hopefully they'll get the courage to leave that domestic situation.
Exactly.
All right, let's go on to the next question. We're talking good now, just getting a little bit of information out.
Yeah, a little bit.
Um,
Maybe.
just a little bit, just a little bit.
Right.
It's been a while. It's been a while since we actually did set had a kind of round table talk with just us. What types of services or support does the Shi Foundation offer? And we offer a lot. We do. We
We
don't.
offer a lot. We offer support by ways of temporary housing. Um, we provide food, we provide clothing, toiletries. I myself personally, I transport some of them to court, for mediation, for trial. I set in on counseling. The Shaft Foundation is involved in two safe houses where we provide support, I'm sorry, by again by way of food, toiletries, setting on counseling sessions, and we make sure that they're connected to the proper resources that will lead them from one place to another that will ultimately better their life. So we do a lot. We do a lot, a lot.
And it's more than just the gala and the book bag drive.
Yeah, it's more than just that.
It's so much that goes on in the background, and sometimes
Yeah.
I get on Denise because like she'll take part in different events, and I find out after she coming back home from 'em. And like they're great events, they really are. But
Mhm.
I just want everyone to know that's listening or watching that the money that comes in that you guys give us in efforts to support our cause, it goes directly back out. And a large majority of the funding from the Shine Foundation also comes straight out of Denise's own pockets. There's been times where she's been called in the middle of the night and she's had to put up a family or buy groceries or tickets so they could get away from their victimizer.
Yes.
And she
Right.
doesn't talk about it. I mean, a lot of stuff doesn't need to be said, but I just want you guys to know that she's actually doing the work. I mean, I know a lot of people have organizations and they say they're doing certain things and they're not. But
Mhm.
I have the receipts that this lady's doing amazing things. And I just if you ever find the time to lend your time, your money, make donations, just know that those items and your hard-earned money goes right back out to the
Goes
victims and
right
the
back.
families
Yeah.
that we service, the safe houses, and don't be asking for pictures of the stuff at the safe. We can't take
We
pictures of
can't
the safe
take
house.
pictures. We
They're,
can't
they're
do
on the
any of
they in
that.
hiding from their abusers,
Yeah,
but
we can't do any of that.
because
Like we
some people
cannot.
have asked for pictures. We're like, we can't do that. Like,
Right,
come on.
right. Come on, we can't do
Safety is
that.
paramount in this working in this arena because if you just want a picture and say they're on the run from somebody, people when they are in these situations, their abusers don't care what lengths they will go to
Do
get at that
not.
person. So
Do
we
not.
can't always provide
We can't
pictures for
provide that.
um
We cannot.
but we do
Um,
provide pictures when we do events. So you
we
can
would
see
do
yourself
events.
at the
Yeah,
event, but you
yeah,
can't see the
yeah.
victims. But we do
And
the
as
safe
Jim
house. Yeah.
And as Jim said, every dime that's given into in support of the foundation goes directly back into the community. And again, I we do more than host events. There's a lot of background stuff going. And as Jim also said, a lot of time I'm doing it by myself because I know some of you give so much of yourselves to me already. And I feel like, nah, I'll just do it by myself. I don't want to bother Jim today. I don't
And
want to
she
bother,
do that. It's been times when she
I don't
been
want to bother this
fixed
person today. Yeah.
and she trying to do
Yeah.
it by herself, and we be
Yeah.
mad. We're like, why don't you call and tell somebody?
Yeah.
Just we got into it before we got on this podcast because she was out doing something last minute and she was supposed to be here, but it's
Mhm.
okay
But it's
because
okay.
I mean, she's led to do it, and certain things have to be done. But I just want you guys to know, from me, that all your efforts that you collaborate with us goes back out to nobody harbors nobody hoards any of this items, it all goes right
Mm-mm.
back out into
Go
the
right back
community,
down into the
to
community.
deserving families and people. We even service a whole apartment complex,
A whole
a
entire
whole
apartment
a whole one.
complex.
A
A
whole
whole
one.
on
So
God.
it just goes further than just domestic violence. It's like everybody. If in your need and the Shi Foundation can help, we're there. So the next question is, um how do you ensure the safety and confidentiality of those who we reach out to help? Like I said, we can't do pictures. So
We
that's
can't.
one way
That's
we have to
one
ensure,
way
yeah.
we cannot do pictures, and whatever is laid up on my desk is between me, that person, and the person that placed it on my desk. I'm going to ensure them that they're safe with me. They're safe with us because their information will not be leaked by any means necessary. We're in this walk together. What affects you affects me. So we're in this together. So if I turn a deaf ear to what's going on with you, I might as well turn a deaf ear to what's going on with me. Because again, if it affects you, it affects me. So we keep them safe. We harbor them by any means necessary. Any means necessary. No telephones by any means. Even when going um into the safe houses to work, personal phones are not allowed. They are not. So keeping them safe by any means necessary is what the Shi Foundation aim to do along with the other supporters.
And I would also like to add, if you come to any of the members of the Shi Foundation in search of resources, in search of wanting to get therapy or counseling, that's a conversation that's just had between us. There's not We're not gonna whisper behind your back. We're not gonna tell
Mm-mm.
anybody, because fear is one of the number one things that keep a lot of people in these relationships.
Amen.
As well as the abusers. If you know you need to change and you know you need help, and I'm asking for you to come out and make that change too. You might need to hear
Hmm.
a story of how somebody else's situation was affected by domestic violence, because that might be the thing you need to hear to and, start the change.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
we're just open, like we're not going to bash you or anything like that, but we do want you to get the help that you need so that we can ensure
Hmm.
that everybody could be safe and could live a prosperous life. So, says is said here, it stays here.
It stays
We're here
here.
to we're here to service the whole community. So we don't want you to feel like, there's gonna be any whispering, anybody's gonna get
Never,
your
never,
information or
never,
or know your story. You tell your story when you're ready to tell it. We're not gonna tell it for you. So I just
never.
want to let everybody know about that. Um can you share a successful story, while protecting that person's privacy, that
Um,
shows how your work was impactful?
yes, yes. Just recently, we had a success story. It started off very bad, very, very bad. But I can honestly say, as of today, she's thriving, she's surviving, and she's much better off than she was a year ago or 2 years ago. Um, Going through the different resources and dealing with a lot of other things to help rebuild her. Therapy, number one. Therapy was the main thing, the top thing. And through therapy, through different resources, walking with this young lady to and from court, ensuring her that we're going to help her to remember who she was before the abuse started, and that she will come out even better on the other end. We did that. She's now back home. She's in school. She's working a wonderful job. And like as I said, she's thriving and she's surviving. And I am so proud of her. Extremely happy for her. She check in at least 2, 3 times a week to ensure us that I'm doing it. And I appreciate the Shi Foundation.
Oh, I appreciate her too, and I'm proud
Yeah.
of her too, even though I don't know who it is. But
And she's doing an amazing job. And for every person that I help or we help as a whole, for every one of them that get back to who they were before the abuse start, and they take it up, they take their power back and say, I can and I will do this and do it. It's amazing. Like it's simply amazing.
all right, we're gonna switch it up a little bit. Advocacy and research. Oh, outreach. I promise y'all I can read. How does the organization raise awareness in the community?
We raise awareness by number one, we ensure them that where they are when they're around us is a safe place. We teach in healthy relationship skills. We're directing them towards community education programs. Um, different resources. We host a domestic violence forum so they can hear the stories from the perspective of victors.
Yeah, victims.
Yeah, which is a good
Yeah.
thing. So we're just doing the work, by any means necessary through advocacy, connecting them with other organizations. Again, going back and forth to court with different people. So when we're in the community, and one of the main things, like I said, I want us to continue to work on teaching and talking about healthy relationships. That is one of the main things. Like this upcoming school year, I had met with some people and we're I'm hoping we're able to do it. As of right now, it's like 50-50, but I'm hoping we get that whole 100% because we want to bring education about domestic violence into the school system
Mm,
because we've seen so many young ladies in high school and middle school that are being abused, and it's not okay.
not okay.
And it's not okay. So that is one of my goals to get into these school systems.
The, you may I gotta I write that down because I gotta we'll talk about that later. So one of the things that you hit on was about when we do the conferences. And they're small conferences, but when I tell you they're so impactful because we speak to we have victims of domestic violence speak, tell their story. Like I said, we don't tell your story, we allow you to tell your story, and effort hopes that it will help somebody else decided to make a change in life. And we've had people who used to be the abusers come out and speak as well and tell us their frame of thought and what made them change and realize that what they were doing weren't right. So, um, if you ever been able to sit in on a session, I'm telling you, it's very powerful and it's very impactful because you start to see things from a lot of different perspectives. A lot of times we step into these relationships and we think this is what's supposed to happen because, like you said, you want to advocate this year for us to start embracing healthy relationships. Well, they can't embrace healthy relationships if they've never seen them. They're in these households where their parents are in broken relationships and abusive relationships, and so we seem to kind of follow what we see. So we need to really start. Oh, Denise on dropped off. She'll be back, but we really need to start showing our children, showing our nieces and nephews, showing um, people in the environment what a healthy relationship looks like. And it's not um, being manipulative. It's not putting your hands on somebody. It's not downing somebody. Um, it's not the emotional abuse. So we really need to define what is a healthy relationship in order to be able to project it out to our youth. As Denise hit on, there is a lot of abuse going on in these middle schools and high schools, and it's being overlooked. And once they start at a young age like that, it's kind of hard to break that habit because they're in that they're still their brains are still developing. And if you start putting him in a situation, put a person in a relationship like that, it kind of sets the tone to how they feel like they should be treated, and that can linger on to their adult years. So we want to stop it now. So like I said, if you see something, say something, make a change. You never know. You just pulling somebody to the side and giving them a word, or if you see a young couple being aggressive with each other and that you know, and you know if you know that they can, they'll listen to you. Go ahead. There's nothing wrong with pulling that young man or that young lady aside and talking to them and making sure they know that there's another way. You can always talk it out. If you can't talk it out, you can't agree, then it's best that you just separate. My one motto has always been, if I had to hit you, I don't want to be with you. Because you need to keep your hands to yourself. I tell people all
Hello.
the time, you put your hands on me, you're going to jail.
Don't
I'm
hit my
calling.
mama child.
You going to jail.
Don't hit
So
my mama child, boo.
we really need to start really pushing what healthy relationships look like. And if you yourself know you're not in health, we know when we're not in healthy relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and make a change because your kids are seeing that. And being that I work with children, especially I work with young children, we see it play out in the classroom all the time, and they're just doing what they see at home all the time, a lot
Amen.
of times. So if you always talk about generational curses and you want to break them, well, it starts with you. And everybody's like, I want better for my kids. Well, if you want better for your children, you have to start making the change.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So let's go ahead and start projecting and uplifting healthy relationships, and not just what y'all see on social media. Okay, so
Come
next
on.
question. Next question, since you made just your way back, um, are there any partnerships or collaborations that you have been that has been key in your mission with the Shi Foundation?
Oh, most definitely. Um, Number one has been from day one a vision for hope. A vision for hope has been front and center. Then we added on best friends, front and center. We have truth be told, telling my own truth. They have been partnering with us. Gilead has played a major role in sponsorship. And the Marquette Lounge has played a major role.
Yeah, I didn't even know it.
Has
Yeah.
played a major role. And then not to mention his other organization, My Fellow Man. These are the people in the organization that see the work and are willing to help us to help others. And they don't even look for no sense of entitlement, no accolades. Just here you are, do what you need to do.
Yep.
And I appreciate them with my whole heart and soul. I really, really do.
You can say what you want, but the Marquette been helping.
Been gone.
Say what you
Hello.
want, but
Come
best
on,
friends
man.
been in there.
Best friend Marquette been in
And they
there.
don't
Come on.
they don't ask for any accolades, like she said. They don't ask it for anything. They just see that we are trying to accomplish something, and they have backed us 100% each and every time.
100%. Each
Absolutely.
and every time.
Yeah, they have been a great big part of our circle support.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean,
Oh,
as well.
and one more group. Don't let me forget Love Jones.
Oh,
Love Jones, definitely.
they show up.
They show up to show out. Yes.
They do.
Yeah.
They absolutely do. And we appreciate each and every one of you. And we look forward to doing different collaborations. We're open to support, just like people support us, we're willing to support as well. So don't ever think it's one-sided. We're just here to service the community. Um let me ask you, it's something that you do every year. I don't know the name of it, but the one with the shoes.
The one who?
The one with the shoes, the heels. What's the one with the heels?
The Survivor Walk.
Who was over that one?
The Survivor Walk is just all different organization coming together under one umbrella,
Mm-hmm.
and merging together. So it's never not just one organization. So it could be the Shi Foundation, um, telling my own truth. It can be safe haven. It's just different houses coming together to do that walk to raise money.
Yeah, I ain't walking nowhere. She got me 1 year. I ain't walking. I didn't even do the whole walk. I ain't gonna lie to
You
you. I
sure
walked
did,
halfway and
Gemini.
I turned
You
around.
sure
And
did.
what she
You
not finna
did.
do is make me sweat. I'm too big to be
You
sweating.
did not do the whole walk.
But I did show up.
You showed
What
up though.
about what about the other event that you do? Um, the one they came and picked you up. Um,
Oh, the one with Chef Ingrid and Yandy.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, Sisters Helping Sisters. That is a big organization that's geared towards domestic violence victims. It's just like a domestic violence forum where you have different women's coming in to tell their story. We've also had a couple of guys that come in to tell their stories as well. So it's like a healing ceremony, because you're gonna cry, you're gonna praise, you're gonna laugh, you're gonna hug it out. And it's very impactful, like very, very impactful
Yeah, those are one of the events that I find out that she on
at the
when she
last minute.
at the last minute, when she on the
Yeah,
way back, and then I be
yeah.
so excited for her because she's in the room with so many different kinds of people, from celebrities to people you hardly don't know, and they're doing something great. They're forging a
Mhm.
sisterhood, and I just love it. I just love it because
And
you never
then
know what
and
room it's gonna be in.
we're supposed to be they're looking to go to Miami, I want to say in August, um, to do it.
Oh, really?
So yeah, yeah. So they're looking to do it in Miami in August.
Well, if you go, I'll just go and be on the beach.
Oh baby, you going.
I get a little suntan.
Little suntan. Put a little sun lotion on. Little suntan lotion.
All right, so we finna
Yes.
change it up a little bit. Personal impact and challenges.
Oh.
Well, first we want to start on a high note. What has been the most rewarding part of your journey with this nonprofit?
The most rewarding part of my journey is being able to be my daughter's voice and the voice of other domestic violence survivors. Being able to know that I am making a difference, even if I only make a difference in one person's life, I've made a difference that day. And as I stated earlier, helping them helps me. So for every person that I help, I don't care how tired I am, I don't care how broke down I may be after the fact, it feels good to know that I've made a difference in somebody's life.
Okay, next question is, what are some of the biggest obstacles you faced and how did you overcome them?
The biggest, there have not been like two or three obstacles. There's only been one. And that biggest obstacle was, and sometimes, I'm not gonna say was because sometimes it still um put me in the chokehold. The biggest obstacle is when I am dealing with a situation that involves a young lady that may be around Shy's age, and I see what she's going through, and I also see and feel what her parents are going through because I'm like, this was Shy, this is me. So I had to learn how to set aside my emotions because I'm here for someone else. I'm not here for me. I'm here for someone else. So the biggest obstacle has been setting aside how I truly feel and how bad I hurt in the midst of their hurt. So I have to set that aside and be more in tune with what they need and what they're going through. Now, when I get to my car, I may cry like a baby, but I have to show them that, like, I'm here to work with you. I'm gonna hold your hand. I'm gonna walk with you. You know, when you fall, I fall. When you stand, I stand. So the obstacle have been, like I said, having to sometimes push how I feel aside personally, because I know when I start feeling a certain way, I know how angry I can get.
I was just about to say, you saying all that, but I say it was the anger.
Yeah,
It was the anger.
I know how angry I can get. So I have to just swallow all of that, do what I have to do. And once I leave them, I feel how I feel.
Yeah. I think for me, I your biggest obstacle was trying to the anger and the shutting down.
Mm-hmm.
Um and I think that's why, even though you work a nerve deep within me, but when you say you need, I do, even though I fuss, because I think that the Shi Foundation was um a great big pathway for on your journey to heal, trying to heal, because
Exactly.
you were very angry. Well, you shut down completely.
I shut down completely. I did.
And then when you did start opening up, it was a lot of anger and a lot of rage, and rightfully so. So I think this gave you a great avenue to turn all that into something that can help and save others. Um, but yeah, that was a big thing for us, because it was like we didn't know how to help. We didn't know
Exactly.
how to reach out to you, and we just had to be patient and um and just be there, Um, and we waited, and
And
we
waited.
waited, and then eventually, you can come around, because there's no words that can pacify you or comfort you, because that's not what you wanted in that time. But when you were ready, we came to the table and was like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. And you've been going full steam ahead, with or without anybody's support. She been pushing through,
I've
guys.
been
Like,
pushing through, definitely.
and one thing I could honestly say that I'm really proud of you, because I think this year alone you proved to yourself that, regardless of what, um, you could still persevere with making sure the organization had what it needed, or what needed to take place took place, regardless if nobody was backing you or not. So I was proud, because I said, okay, she putting it together. She could do it. She could do it by herself. Help is greatly appreciated, but if it's not given, you don't let that stop. And
Mm-mm.
so I just realized, like, how resilient you really are. And so that's a lot to be commended. Next
Thank you,
question
Janelle.
is, I be
And
paying
then,
attention to
what?
you. I do. Um, how do you take care of your own mental and emotional health? Yeah,
um,
don't lie to these people, because I'm gonna tell them your truth. So don't lie. How
you
do you
know
take?
what? I'm not gonna lie to the people, because when my mental, when I feel like my mental is being tampered with, um, I shut down. I shut down, and I shut down because um, I know my mental stability could take me to a very angry place. So I shut down. I have to refocus and regroup, and then I talk to my therapist. I talk to my therapist, baby. If it means me talking to her every day, I talk to my therapist. And then in talking to her, I realized that I had to prioritize my physical health. You know, it was important that I focus on my physical being. You know, so again, I would shut it down. I talk to my therapist. I focus on my physical health. I engage in safe relationships. Um, I have to surround myself with trusted friends, families, and professionals. To be honest with you, for my emotional support, I have to.
Yeah,
You know,
because
so
sometimes you gotta shut
yeah,
out all the noise.
I have to shut it all out.
Shut it out.
I have
And
to
it's
shut it
nothing.
out.
Don't take it personal when she gets. This is what I want to let people know. Before all this happened, there were moments of solace. Like there were moments of peace. Like we used to do pageants. And after the pageants, we say, I love you, but I don't want to talk to you about 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks.
We needed that
Yes.
quiet time. We need that peace. And so even now with doing this stuff, like we know that you guys love us. We know you guys love Denise. Y'all want to talk to her. Y'all want to reach out and touch her. But sometimes I just beg of you, please allow her that time to shut down. Just like she'll tell you, hey, Jim, leave Jim alone for a little while. Don't bother her.
Leave him alone.
I need to digress. I need that time to settle down and kind of, get centered again. It's just needed. Um, Question. When it comes to therapy, because we don't talk enough about therapy, and a lot of us need. So I remember during when you first started going after Shy passed. Let me ask you this: did you feel like it was working
Feel like what was working.
therapy?
At first, I didn't feel like
Okay, I
it.
want you to tell the truth because I want
No,
to
no,
see
no.
you.
I'm about to tell you the truth. At the beginning, I didn't feel like it was working because I think the anger in me, and I can honestly say this now, the anger and the hurt in me wanted my therapist to say what I wanted to hear, opposed to what I needed to hear.
Right.
So I didn't feel like it was working because I found myself challenging her. Every time she said something, I had some get back or some pushback. I can recall her telling me because, like, as of this day, I go to visit Shy every week, once a week. Raph and I go and visit Shy once a week. Prior to getting to where I am now, I was out there every day. I was out there every single day because I felt as though I was leaving her. Like I done just left her. I done just left her. And it wasn't until my therapist said, "You're gonna drive yourself crazy. You're gonna find yourself in the nut house." And she didn't lie. In actuality, she didn't lie. I was in the rubber room a couple of times for maybe like 48 to 72 hours, depending on how I act. I really was. So at the beginning, I didn't think therapy was working, but now it works. It helps me by any and every means necessary. Because if I did not have my therapist, a lot of people would be in trouble.
A lot of people be in trouble. I just want to see what your take on it because you know, we like in the comments Kenny said, please let people know that therapy isn't a bad thing, is much needed. And they'll try it one time. If they get the nerve or enough, gumption to try it, just to schedule that first appointment. They'll try it one time and then they won't go back. They didn't like it. And therapy is not a one size fits all. Sometimes you might
Mhm.
have to find that right therapist. Sometimes you might have to go a couple of times. And of course, you're going to have those uncomfortable conversations with your therapist.
Exactly.
You're going to have them, but they're much
Exactly.
because if you want to fix yourself or if you see something in you that you don't like and you want to change, you have to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do the work. And it's not going to just be you go one time and instantly you're fixed. No, it's a consistent thing. Consistency is what you need on the road to healing on your
Mm-hmm.
journey to improve yourself. So
Exactly.
people
So
they
baby, I I was go to therapy. Go to
oh,
therapy. Please go to
oh,
therapy.
must.
Go to therapy. And again, as I said, my problem was I wanted my therapist to tell me what I wanted to hear. That was my biggest
But
problem.
that's a
That
lot of
was
people's
that
problem
was my
with
pushback.
friendships. They
But
want
eventually, oh, she
don't
got
tell me
down
what
to
I
the nitty
tell,
gritty.
tell me don't tell me what I want to hear. Tell me what I need.
Exactly. And that's what she was doing, and that's what she still do to this day. She tell me exactly what I need to hear. She know when I'm off center.
Yeah,
She know when I need to just take a break and just shut it down. You
I've been there
know.
several
So
times. It's
yeah,
like, listen,
I do recommend it.
yes, therapy is a must. Even if you don't even have anything major going on, you still need
Hmm.
to check in. Just, I mean,
Yes.
sometimes, um, I find that people realize that they're more open and they could be more vulnerable when it's somebody that isn't biased. Somebody they're talking to somebody that doesn't have skin in the game. They're not going to judge you. They're going to help you. So, um, like in the comments, Miko said, find one solid therapist. So many, and then Kenya says, so many people that deal with childhood trauma, and it shows up in adulthood, of course, and it manifests itself into angry monsters. Sometimes a person may abuse their mate from something stemming from their childhood. So
Exactly.
yeah, so therapy is much needed. Work through your stuff. And
Yeah.
if you know you have issues that you haven't worked through, then guess what? Maybe you're not ready for a relationship. Because why do
Mhm.
you want to hurt the person that you say you love?
And that goes back to what we said earlier when we spoke upon trauma bonding, because some people could have or may have experienced trauma in their childhood, and as Kenya stated, they carry it over into adulthood, and it affects their relationship. So if all I ever saw was abuse, 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 I'm led to believe that it's the norm.
Yeah.
And then I'm taking this wherever I go. And again, it doesn't have to be just physical. It could have been verbal. It could be mental. It can be financially. So with that being said, baby, therapy.
Yeah, and then some people they don't even realize that they suffer from anxiety, depression, PTSD because of their upbringing. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, and then it's just triggered over and over again. So, um, yeah, man, come on, let's get that therapy.
Got to get that therapy in.
Matter of
Got
fact,
to get it in.
one of our next episodes, we're gonna have a therapist on that can answer some of the questions that you might need to ask. So we got a lot of stuff in store. Okay, so call to action. Call to action. We getting towards the end. Thank you guys for hanging in there with us. We really appreciate it. So a couple more questions, and then we're gonna close out. What can listeners do to support survivors and prevent domestic violence in their own communities?
Oh God, there's a lot they can do. But one of the things that I don't suggest is that they say to that person, leave. Don't tell that person to leave, because um it's not that easy. It's easier said than done.
Oh, when they were like, "Why don't you just leave?
Yeah,
Why don't
why
you
don't
just
you
leave?
why don't you
If
just
you just
leave?
leave, yeah,
Why don't you just leave? No, 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 no. No, 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 no. I don't suggest that, because again, it's easier said than done. And believe that person. Believe when they say they're being abused. Listen, but don't judge.
right,
Listen and connect them with some domestic violence experts, the advocacy programs. Connect them with them by any means necessary. Help them to advise an escape plan.
right,
That's one of the main things. Help them to get a escape plan in order. And when I say an escape plan, pack a bag. Have them to pack a bag if they're planning. Pack a bag. You the friend. Take that bag to your home and keep that bag. So when that person decided that I'm gone, I have things that I could use that will cover me in the midst of this process. You know, come up with a safety word, via text. So if I text Gemini and I say to Gemini, let me use your bicycle, then Gemini know I'm on the run.
Right. Because I ain't never seen you ride no bike, so I already know it's up.
Gemini know I'm on the run if I say let me ride your bicycle. Or if you stay close by that person, and if that person say to you, oh, I'm gonna leave the back porch light on tonight, and they never leave that light on, then they're ready to go. So help them with getting resources. you know um I resist the urge to say leave, because like I said, it's easier said than done. Connect them with domestic violence experts. Try to take us some details and some logistics for them. If need you to do XYZ, do XYZ, even if it means I'm going to give you X amount of dollars to put aside for me, then you know what that money is for. I'm going to supply you with my family numbers, my family address, so you can stay in contact with them, so they'll know when the time comes, you can call them and say it's happening. So there's a lot of things that we can do, as far as call to action. And then you can call the domestic violence hotline. And that number is 1-800-799-7233. 1-800-799-7233. Or you can start a chat with them by texting START to 88788.
What's that number again?
The domestic violence hotline is 1-800-799-7233. The text number is START 88788. You can text that number. So we just got to be very vigilant. Try to have uncomfortable conversation if you feel as though your friend or family member and whomever is being abused. And it's going to be a very uncomfortable conversation for them, because number one, they're scared. And a lot of times their fear is not always about them. It's about the abuser, because they don't want anything to happen to abuser. So yes, just be there. Just look for the signs. Ask the uncomfortable questions. Call the domestic violence hotline. Create a safety plan. Create safety words. So just be there. And then don't forget to reach out to the Shi Foundation.
That was my next question. How can people get involved with our organization and donate to the cause?
Um, our events are always posted. They're going to be posted online, either by myself, Jessica, Shauna, Gemini. Everything will be posted. You can always show up and help us distribute supplies, distribute food, distribute clothing, just be a beacon of hope for someone. You can always show up. We will never turn anyone back, because we always looking for volunteers. We would love it. If you want to donate financially, no amount is too small. You can send funds to Shy, all caps SHI 0227. That's Shy SHI 0227. If you want to donate, give a monetary donation. Like I said, no amount is too small. And as Jim stated earlier, all the proceeds go back into the community. Nothing comes to us. Um, there have been several times that I had to do what needed to be done out of my pocket. Not a problem, because again, this is what I love. This is my purpose, and I am going to uphold my daughter's legacy by any means necessary. So, um, I see Jim and I done posted the back to school flyer. Go ahead, Jim.
Oh, no, no, no. This is our next event coming up. It's July 20th. At Best Friends. Please come out. Bring two or more packed book bags for the back to school drive. This is one of our first events that we started doing. It's a great turnout. How many book bags did we collect last year?
Last year we collected 350.
Yeah. So we we
Yeah.
we we doing big things, and we want you guys to be a part of it. It's a great um time for fellowship amongst us. No drama. You're helping community. You're helping kids go back to school, getting things they need. Um, a lot of the kids they're in the safe houses. There are a lot of children. They need supplies. Um, and underprivileged schools. Did she tell you that that Raphael take his money and feed the kids in the hotel? Like
No, I
everybody,
didn't.
see,
No, I
everybody
didn't.
do stuff. Everybody do stuff, and that's just a great thing. Even Shy's son is involved. He takes part in
Yeah.
philanthropy, and
Yeah.
so we're just asking that you guys come out, support us, support the Shi Foundation, come fellowship with us. Like I said, the next event is July 20th before school comes back in at Best Friends for the book. I mean, back to school supply collection. So guys, come out. At least two or more book bags. At least two or more.
Two
You
or
know,
more book bags,
yeah.
yes. And as Jim stated earlier, we adopted this apartment complex. Um, Underprivileged. Some of the parents that I've spoken with are domestic violence victims. So they look forward to us coming out and serving them. So the book bags that we collect, all the school supplies, will not just benefit the women and children that are in the safe house. It will benefit people in that apartment complex as well. And then if we have anything left over, those book bag goes to high poverty schools, schools that are, poverty is just on the rise. We try to get the supplies out to them.
Yeah, because everybody don't have it. I'm telling you.
Yeah, everybody
I work
don't
in the
have it.
school system, and these babies are coming in with plastic bags. They're coming in with um,
Mhm.
old, tore down book bags. It's been times where I've taken their things out of these old, tore up book bags that they got from somebody else and gave them brand new book bags on their backs. Um, and you don't understand what and how it affects that child when they know that somebody is invested
Right.
in them in their education. It turns their whole day around, whole attitude, just knowing that somebody cares and want to see them have the best and do the best for them. So you guys,
Yeah.
please come out and support us. Okay, and we have come to the end of this wonderful first little episode of Sharing Hope and Inspiration podcast. If you could leave the audience with one message, what would it be for today?
Every time you make a chance, I'm sorry, every time you make a choice, you can change the world. Stand tall, even when others try to bring you down. So again, I say, every time you make a choice, you change the world. Stand tall, even when others try to bring you down. You are stronger than the pain you endure. Your strength is your power to heal and rebuild.
All right, guys. Thank you, Denise, for
Thank
coming
you,
out and
Gina.
talking to us. And
Thank
thank you
you.
guys who stuck in there and listened to our informational podcast. We will be back with other episodes. Like I said, we have a psychiatrist that wants to come on and talk. We have other organizations that want to partner with us. We still have to do part two to our conference, our survivors, our victors conference that we had. Some of the guests want to come and finish telling their story. So you guys just stay tuned. Today was kind of quick and dirty, but we just wanted you guys to know that the Shy Foundation is here to service the community, and we greatly appreciate all your efforts and collaborations that you guys have done for us. So, with that being said, thank you for joining us. You guys
Thank
have a great
you.
day. Bye.
Have a great one. Bye.